This case, the incidents surrounding this case were in 2017. In 2017, the mayor of Entebbe now was just a businessman. He was not holding any political office. He was a businessman who got involved in a business transaction, had money that was deposited on his account, lost money as a result of what led him to go to court. The bank debited his account and transferred the money back to the people who had credited him in that transaction. In 2017, we did not have, as far as I can recollect myself, we did not have M23 rebels in the DRC. My client is not involved at all with the M23 rebels. This matter was in respect to the accounts. When money has been suspected, when you receive an unusual amount on your account, the Financial Intelligence Authority and the laws generally have obliged the bank to notify the Financial Intelligence Authority and to be able to freeze those funds pending further guidance from the Financial Intelligence Authority. All that was done. As a matter of fact, because the bank at the time had raised concerns in respect to the transactions, based on a complaint from the third party that had credited the funds. The funds were eventually frozen on the account. Now, subsequently, in the process of the funds of the investigation, the bank decided to debit and give the money back to the complainants. Now, this is where we have a challenge with the judgment. Our client is aggrieved in the sense that he lost money. The court has decided that the bank did wrong to debit his account without a court order. But the court has not meted out any consequence to the bank for what it did. Now, what this means, if we do not appeal against such a decision, it means that anybody would lose money in a bank, and the bank would have the right to claim that the money was a result of proceeds of crime. Maybe you received it through corruption, maybe you received it through theft, maybe you received the money through witchcraft, and therefore you have no right to sue the bank to recover that money. Now, that cannot be allowed to stand because it erodes this principle that is being laid in this precedent being set by the court, erodes the confidence that the public would have by having their money in commercial banks. Because the court is saying we have validated what the bank did. In fact, the court is saying the customer who lost the money should pay costs to the bank, which has given money to a third party. Now, the other challenge we have is that this third party, the bank is saying, the court is saying, was part of a money laundering scheme. But the bank was allowed to give back the money to the principal money launderer. Now, when you think about it, it means that had it been for money laundering, the bank and the court have favored the principal money launderer. And that cannot, in our opinion, be a precedent. We owe a duty to the public as officers of court to be able to guide on the development, especially or to protect customers when it comes to the monies that they put in commercial banks. So we have the way forward. We have appealed. We intend to appeal. We have formulated grounds of appeal. We shall notify the court relevant procedures for appeal, and we believe in due course the Court of Appeal will make a decision that would protect the institution of banking, but also give confidence to the public that their monies will not be lost when the banks become the judges of what on what should qualify to be proper banking practice. I have mentioned our client does not have any involvement with the M23. And I have given a personal opinion that I do not remember there having been M23 in DRC in 2017. What has been picked up on in the court judgment were police statements that were recorded at that time, and it was not that he was dealing with M23, but in the course of doing business, that information may have come to him. So that information may have come to him that, oh, this could be a relationship. But the transaction had nothing to do with M23. A gold transaction has nothing to do with M23. And what the media is doing now is turning this into a political issue and moving away from the gist of the matter. The gist of this matter is that a customer of the bank, a businessman having an account with the bank, has lost money, and the bank has been allowed to determine which is good money and which is dirty money, and is being asked to pay costs for the complaint that has been made. So that is the issue. But there is no, just to make it clear, our client does not have any involvement, has never had any involvement with M23. If that had been the case that had been opened up in respect to this issue should have been about that in 2017. The case was about a suspicious transaction related to money banked on his account in 2017. It had nothing to do with M23. That case was heard by the court in 2017, the anti-corruption court,
and that case was dismissed. There was nothing to do with M23.
This is a matter that happened, that started in 2017. Because I've seen what is a legal matter, a matter that involves a bank and its client. I have seen bloggers are being paid and to run a story of the mayor of Entebbe and M23, and the matter is not being discussed. I was a client of Stanbic Bank in 2017. I had a transaction, they took the money. We're asking them, was that done properly? Now, they can do all these things that they're doing today, paying people to write the mayor of Entebbe, M23. It doesn't take away the fact or the facts that we're having a discussion about. Today, what we are fighting against is this opens up a precedent for this to happen to anybody. That a bank can decide and becomes the court. It can say, this money came from witchcraft, this one here came from a bribe, this came from corruption. So we are opening up a way for an unfair way of things doing. If Stanbic Bank really felt there was anything criminal that was done, they were not the courts to decide. They should have gone to court, or they should have asked whoever it is to go to court, and the court decides on this matter. The whole M23, mayor of Entebbe, because it's now become the thing, mayor of Entebbe, mayor of Entebbe. I was Fabrice Rulinda, their client. I was not mayor of Entebbe in 2017. I was clearly just their client, who they did something wrong to, trying to play this narrative for the gallery so that the press jumps on it, the bloggers, it's on social media. I've seen them trying to tag all sorts of agencies. Let's discuss the facts. The facts are that they broke the law. If they broke the law, how do we handle it? Because if we leave it this way, I can say, okay, fine. I have been dealt a bad blow. They have spent today, the whole day have been trending on social media. I have been dealt a bad blow. What happens to the next person? This now becomes an avenue, an open street. We've given a blank checks for anybody to do what they want with the institutions without regarding their fiduciary duties. A bank's duties are to its client. You have wronged your client, but the court is saying no. The court should rubber stamp the fact that you wronged me, and then what you do, you start, okay, there was this element, we suspected this. How does your bank suspect those elements? 2017 is when this happened. Almost 10 years down the road, it is the play or the game is about the mayor of Entebbe and a movement of this and that. Tomorrow it will be about John or Paul or Mary, and no, this money came from witchcraft. We were told by divine powers that this was wrong money. We are saying laws exist to ensure that all of us follow them. If the bank honestly, without prejudice, thought there was something wrong or the source of this money, what they could have done is they could have frozen that money, given it to the central bank. They could and said, you know what, when these things are sorted, we will decide, the courts will determine who we give the money to. What they did, they decided who they want to give the money to. Afterwards, what they are doing is they are playing now on the sensationalism, on the emotions of a mayor of Entebbe, M23. You realize that there is no longer discussion on the substances of the case. We have gone into the mayor and this. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen of the press, I'd ask, let the lawyers have this conversation. Why? They will discuss the legal matters. What are we setting up for the average citizen out there? I was not a mayor in 2017 when they did this. Probably they wouldn't do this now. But in 2017, when I was not the mayor, they did this and they thought it would go away. Nobody would allow it to go. Today they are trying to play for the gallery. If you can ask yourself, why is it trending so much? It's being paid, it's being financed. Someone is paying bloggers. Make sure you keep pushing this. And people keep coming back to me thinking I'll also pay. No, I'm not going to pay bloggers for this. And this is something I'm not letting go of. Since they've chosen to use my office and say the mayor of Entebbe did this, let me champion this for everybody else. That these institutions are bullying, that are pushing into corners, and they expect. Very many people are crying out there. Banks take your money, they take your property, and there's nothing you can do about it. This is not about the mayor of Entebbe. This is not about a movement called M23. No, this is an institution being a bully. And on top of being a bully, it's financing the social media thing. So if for them it was about embarrassing me, thank you very much. You have embarrassed me. But it's not a matter that I am going to stop pursuing. I'm not here to fight with people who are blogging. No, that's not what I'm here to do. I am addressing the key issues. The issue is money was taken from my account. I was not mayor of Entebbe, because now it's become a government to national issue, which is not the case. I was simply an ordinary client to them, whose money they took and who's going to keep fighting to get that money back. That's it. They could have gone, if they honestly believed that there was an M23 involvement. Is it now the banks that determine that? That's why we have courts. Okay, tomorrow when they say the money that Sam has paid you is LRA money or ADF money, what happens? And there are institutions that could have pursued me on that matter, isn't it? If honestly that was the case, there are institutions that exist that could have pursued that matter. Isn't it? So if you're saying you're reversing, you can't run three things at the same time. That's diversionary. In one case, you're saying it's money laundering. It's in another case, you're saying I didn't give you the source of the money. But you see, the person who sent the money has not said they didn't send it. So they are the source, isn't it? The person who sent you the money, did he say I didn't send it? Did he say I sent it in error? So tomorrow what will happen is you, Ivan, you will sell me land. Isn't it? I pay you money. Then I will reverse that transaction and say, you know what? Guess what? The bank will determine whether to reverse it or not. If there was a dispute between the two parties that were doing the transaction, there are places where they could have gone to get remedy, and that place is called the court, isn't it? And again, if you go into this, it says this was not a reversal, it was a debit. There are only two people who can debit off an account, the owner of the account or the court. Was any of that done? The judgment that you keep referring to says they actually erred. They made a mistake to do this. So you're saying you made a mistake, but it's okay. You should not be prosecuted. That's rubber stamping what I have done wrong. There is nowhere where they gave us time. And you know, all of you as journalists, you need not to propagate something that is wrong. This is 10 years down the road. You know the way it's being told? It's like it happened last week. This is 2017. It has taken 10 years of cat and mouse, a delayed judgment of about 5 years. And when you come up with a judgment, you say, basically in that judgment, they say, yes, they are wrong, but they are right because you can't get them because they suspect it. You are saying clearly they are wrong. Not that we suspect they are wrong. The only definite answer in that judgment is they were wrong. But they had suspicion that something could have been wrong. And that's why they broke the law. My pursuit right now is to ensure that this does not become a precedent for other people. For me, it has happened. It has, whatever the outcome, the way I look, the way I'm perceived, is not going to change by me having this interview. But what are we keeping as a precedent in court that would be based on to do the same injustice to whoever the people feel like, or the banks feel like they should?